Hi everyone, it's Arlene here. Today's card is made using this fun stamp set called the Lilypad Lake. It's one of the new ones that came out, well, actually in June, so fairly new. The card is this one right here. Isn't this cute? It's still pretty hot over here where we are in the summertime, so I thought this was a really fun card to make for the season. So, and it starts out with just a Whisper White base card. And let me show you the rest of the dimensions of the cardstock that we're using. So this is just a regular A2 size card, again, that I 8.5 by 11. I cut in half and then scored down the middle. And then it also has a piece of the Blueberry Bushel. This is one of the new colors that came out. Isn't that pretty? Love that color. And that one is sized at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and that's going to be layered onto the Whisper White cardstock. I also have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and that's cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. So just a little bit of that Blueberry Bushel is going to be popping out. And then I've also taken the Stitch Shapes Framelits dies, and this is actually the square. It's the second to largest square die that is in that die set. And I cut a piece out with Whisper White cardstock. And then I took a piece of the Balmy blue, and then I went just enough to frame it. And that turned out to be, I believe, 2 3/4 inches. Let's double check. Yeah, this is a 2 3/4 inch square. And that's just going to be framing it and going to put that right there in the middle. So that's the pieces of cardstock that you're going to be using. Let's go ahead and put the rest of them aside, and then we can go ahead and get started on stamping this little small square here. Now the two stamp colors that I'm using, the ink colors, are Balmy Blue and the Pool Party. So I'm going to start with the Balmy Blue. Now I'm going to be using this stamp right here, and I'm going to be just with the Balmy Blue. I'm going to stamp toward the bottom and then work my way up without re-inking, making some water here. Going up a little bit. That, okay. And then going to clean off my stamp here, and then I'll be using the Pool Party. Let's make sure that one got cleaned off. All right, and this is the Pool Party ink. And then I'm going to be taking that one and just going right above, like where the last time I stamped with the Balmy Blue, about sort of here, and then going down. Okay, so we've got two colors there. That looks like the water. Right? Now the next thing we want to do is make the sun, and the way that I did that was I have just a piece of just some scratch paper. You can use like copy paper. I just happen to use some of the more of the Whisper White, and I'm going to just be placing that kind of directly over where I just stamped. And then I'm using the Tuxedo black ink, and I want to stamp the sun, but I want it to look like the sun is setting. So that's why I'm using this cardstock just as a mask. So when I stamp the sun here, it's going to just be like halfway on there. And you can use a post-it note for this too, so it's kind of sticky. That's a good idea as well. I'm going to be using our Aqua Painter, and then we're going to color in the sun. So I've got the Pineapple Punch here, and then I have the Grapefruit Grove. Yeah, Grapefruit Grove. Still getting used to some of these new colors and their names. Okay, so I want to just go ahead and take some of the color with my Aqua Painter and grab some of that color that's on the lid of the stamp pad, and I'm going to color in the sun. Okay, now to give it a fun look, you want to look like the reflection of the sun is in the water. Go ahead and just kind of, see if you can see that okay. Just kind of squiggle that into the water there. Okay, Now the way that you get your ink onto the lid of your stamp pad is when it's closed, you got to give it just a really good squeeze. You're just squeezing it. And these newer stamp pads, you kind of have to squeeze a little bit harder than you did the classic before they changed over to a new design. But you can still do it. It's still doable. All right, now I just cleaned off my Aqua Painter and I'm going to grab a little bit of this Grapefruit Grove here. And I want to just take a little and just kind of give it some shadow. So we've got some dimension on that sun. But kind of blend it in here. Okay, and a little bit more, just a little bit. And again, go and give on the reflection of the water. A little bit there. All right, there we go. So that is the watercolor look. You can do that with your ink pads, which is nice. All right, and I'm going to set that aside to dry. And then I want to take another piece of just some, this is just some scrap paper of the Whisper White cardstock. Again, with my Memento black ink. I'm going to take the sailboat stamp. And stamp right here. Like so. Now, they also have fun cutouts. These are called the Lakeside Framelits dies, and these correspond with that Lilypad Lake stamp set. And I'm taking the sailboat, and we're just going to cut this out. And I'm going to also color this in. I think I'm going to go ahead and color this in before I use my Big Shot. I actually have one that's done already. So you would just color in your stamp and then it will turn out to look like this. All right, let me get my Big Shot here and we will get this cut out. Okay, so you want to make a sandwich when you're cutting out your dies. So I've got the magnetic platform. I'm going to have the bottom of the sandwich, and the middle of the sandwich is the paper that I'm going to cut, as well as layer on the die cut here, or the die right above it. You see how it just lines up perfectly with it. And then you want to put your sandwich plate on top of it, and then you're just going to run it through. The nice thing about that magnetic platform is that it makes it to where it's less likely to move around when you're running it through your Big Shot. And it can still move and a little bit in there, so just make sure when you're running it through right before you get ready to, that it is on there nice and just right, so you're not going to cut it out crooked or anything. And there you have it, quick and easy. Cut that out, got it colored, ready to go. And now taking a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals. I think I'm going to use some of the smaller ones. These are like our little ones, and put a couple of those on to your sailboats here. You just need one here. So I'm stamping with the dogs inside today. And I think I hear the cat too, so we'll see how they get along. Okay, and I just layer it on here. This one about right here. It's so fun. Okay, and then taking some of my snail adhesive, just adhere that onto the Balmy blue. And then I'm taking the Blueberry Bushel, stamp the ink, and I'm using that. That's going to be for my sentiment. So I've got, when you first get these, they can be a little sticky to use, but usually they're not too bad. Okay. Okay, a little crooked, but that's okay. Using that same color on the inside for an inside sentiment. Okay, going there's another, and then at the bottom I'm going to use the congratulations stamp. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this all adhered on. Okay, so we've got that there, and the last thing that I want to do is take a little bit of some twine here, and this is in the Grapefruit Grove, and I'll just cut off a little piece here and then tie it. This is just going to be just a quick little knot. I thought it would be kind of fun to carry on that nautical theme with the sailboats with just using just a knot. So let's go ahead and I'll do that here. And again, that brought out the same color of the Grapefruit Grove that I have going on with the sailboats. And there again, so you've got different techniques here. You've got the watercolor with the Aqua Painter. You've got a masking technique too as well. And then I used the Big Shot and for the cutting out of the sailboats, as well as that stitched square. So thanks again so much for watching, and have a great day.